Like I say, those whistle stop tours of the country, those were actually for me, of course. Lucifer, the first president, and they were actually the balloons, the colored ribbons, the trains. Everything was actually for me. The freight train. They actually even pulled out some of the freight trains, saying, "This is Lou. This is the blah blah person. Oh, he's gonna go on the whistle stop tour. Blah 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 blah." Anyway, none of it was for Kennedy or Carter or whatever. Nixon said, "Well, we got to keep this thing going as long as we can, and we'll leave him holding the hot potato." Anyway, Nixon, these are Nixon words. Like I said, Kennedy was like, "Oh, well, I got to blah, 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 blah." Carter, like I said, he stole the neighbor's farm. Kennedys were dirt poor and actually did eminent domain. They actually bombed Japan to force them to produce goods for America, or to work in the mines for America. That's why the firebombing. America was never supposed to be bombing Japan. Like I said, the reality of the situation was basically America was pretty much forcing the rest of the world to produce goods for it. Produce metal. This is the truth of the Nixon administration as well as the Carter administration. Nixon openly said, "Well, we'll just bomb them if they won't give us what we want." Using my American planes, using my American pilots. So basically, Nixon, Carter, Kennedy family basically did slave labor on the rest of the world. Pretty much. Japan had to work, Japanese citizens had to work or die, or my American planes would go and bomb them. This is what Kennedy and Carter and the others actually did. They turned the rest of the world. Black people had to mine, or else we're going to bomb you or blow you up, said Carter or Nixon. Truth of what the American government was doing for over 100 years is pretty bad. If they didn't produce metal, they'd be firebombed. If they didn't produce nice clothes for Nixon and his Nixon line. Nixon had a whole clothing line. And so if the Japanese didn't produce clothing, they wouldn't be there the next day. Planes of freedom. Like I say, the truth of the Kennedy administration, the truth of Nixon, the truth of Carter, who stole his neighbor's farm, the truth of the past is pretty bad. If Japan didn't put out, Japanese citizens would be killed, or Chinese. People wanted to kill Kennedy, and Carter and Nixon were like, "Well, we got to keep this thing going as long as we can until we leave him, Lucifer, holding the hot potato. It'll all be his fault." That was the inventor. They were my steamships. Anyway, like I say, a lot of the inventors had invented for me. They were all my gifts. They kept me from being born for hundreds of years by sterilizing all of California. When they found out that I was going to be in California, they sterilized it. There was not one single male that could have children in California when they thought I was going to become or be born in California. It wasn't about Germany. They sterilized all of Germany, trying to keep me from being born. Like I say, look at the evidence and you'll see a clear and distinct path. My parents were supposed to be on the Titanic, coming to see me. The Titanic goes down. The Titanic was actually refit 3 times and then rebuilt. The one that actually sank was actually the rebuilt one or something like that. I forget. Anyway, records at the shipyard. People at the shipyard. There are so many lies that are everywhere around us. It's not even funny. It has to do with me, the creator of humanity, and Lucifer, and the American government. That's how, like I say, That's how I actually became a legend, was because they just kept killing me or removing me. That's how they actually started knowing about Lucifer in the first place, was they were trying to keep this person that was going to destroy everyone and kill everyone. The truth was they had locked the borders and stopped all communication with Japan and Russia. America was kind of like its own little state. It didn't know what was happening around the rest of the world. And Kennedy had all the film crews and all the news crews. Kennedy controlled all media in America. So no one knew what was happening around the rest of the world. How they just saw ships coming in to port. Ships from Japan, ships from China. Except they didn't know they were from China or Japan. But they were coming in with goods. And Nixon, Carter, your family, living it up free. Enjoying my balloons. If people didn't invent, they died. Anyway, it's hard to say exactly how much they covered up, but it was a lot. Hell of a lot. Truth is, American was White Star that turned into America. Truth is, they've been controlling the world for quite a long time, or at least they were until the rest of the world revolted a little bit, and then they covered it up some more. Anyway, it's hilarious. It's also because, like I say, I did name America. And that was a problem. America was a paradox, as well as other things. Lucifer was the first president of America and creator of the laws. Anyway, Nixon and Kennedy used the White Star time ship, time travel, whatever. It was stolen, of course. It's the American government. It's end humanity. Like I said, they fooled the future, or lied to the future for a little bit. Created an alternate timeline, practically. It was Rodney, really. Like I said, he was in on it, of course. Because like I said, America actually started in 1978, 7 to 79. It's not 400 years old. It will be, but it's not exactly yet. But nobody knew that. Anyway, only I had the power, and like I say, they're trying to kill all the other races so humanity never finds out. That's why it's so weird. Anyway, but they had to use White Star in order to do it. My White Star steamships. Like I said, they were saying that Nixon was saying that Hitler was bombing Japan. Those were actually Doolittle. Well, Doolittle really actually didn't bomb Japan. He actually bombed some test targets. It was actually somebody else bombing Japan. They were American planes, but they weren't. It wasn't Doolittle. They tried to blame him as well. Doolittle worked for me. He bombed something else. I talked to him. So it wasn't Doolittle. It was somebody else. Somebody that Nixon or worked for Nixon or Carter or Kennedy. Like I say, only so many people could benefit from it.